Commercial is actually not a huge section of the exam, but it probably is one of the scariest for the majority of people because it's huge when it comes to study. Like if you were to look at a textbook of, property and casualty, everything that could be tested, commercial is the biggest chunk. But in most states, it's not the biggest chunk of the exam. So I like to keep it very surface level when it comes to commercial and not, like overwhelm people with all the things they need to learn.
Welcome to Insurance Shop Talk. This is the podcast where the world of commercial insurance gets a little closer to home. I'm your host, Eric Stein, and in every episode, we're taking a deep dive into the insurance industry. From the latest news and trends to in-depth interviews with InsurTech experts, carriers, and agency newsmakers, we're covering it all. So sit back, tune in, and let's start the conversation. All right. Today we've got Melissa Dillon, the insurance exam queen, with us. And I am the king of this podcast host. We've got insurance exam queen on. Melissa, how are you?
I am so good. So glad to be here today with you.
Awesome. So you're in Illinois, right?
Yes, I do live in Illinois. Small town Illinois, not the same as Chicago.
Perfect. Well, I thought it'd be good to have you on after we met because I've had in our agency some of our agents, newer agents and agents who have been with us on the administrative side a while, but decided to finally get some of their licensing taken care of. And I remember very, very vividly that they're all stressed out. They fortunately did pass, but they were just worried like heck, the heck out of it because of the fact that most of these folks hadn't been in school in a long time. And, remembering how to study again is really tough. And so you've got some things that I think are going to be really helpful to our agency, audience and CSR and account manager audience if they're about to enter this whole world of taking the insurance exam for P&C, and really you do other lines too, and I'll let you get into that. So why don't we just kick it off? We want to talk a little bit about maybe your background and how you got into the insurance industry and kind of give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, exactly. So I personally started selling insurance back when I was 18. I was going to college to become a teacher, and I was like, what is the best paying job that I can get right now? And it was, I actually worked at USAA. I did auto insurance policies. I was able to work in the evenings and make really great money. And I liked insurance, and I was kind of geeky about it, passionate about, insurance and what it can do and all the things about it, like understanding the liability and how it works and how it pays out. And, but teaching is like who I am. So, I was going to college to become a teacher. And when it was time to graduate, and I've been selling insurance basically the whole time I was in college, it was a tricky decision. Like, do I leave behind the money that I'm making? That's really awesome, and go into a lower paying field. But it's like teaching is like my heart, my soul, my passion, and who I am. And so I actually tried for as long as I could to do both. So I would teach during the day, middle school, elementary school, and then I would work insurance at night or on the weekends. And there were moments where I would quit one, or I actually went back and forth, or I try to do them together. It got too overwhelming. And then I would go back and forth between teaching and insurance. Some years I was teaching, some years I was doing insurance. I was never quite happy in one or the other, hopping back and forth. And then fortunately, about 5 years into my teaching career, and dabbling in insurance here and there, I found a job teaching the insurance license. So I started working for ExamFX, which is one of the largest pre-licensing providers out there. And I quickly became their most requested instructor. So they would offer, live in-person classes to insurance companies. So like, Hagerty, they're hiring 30 people at one time. They want to get them all trained and licensed. And they would send me in for like a 1 to 2 day class. I would train everybody and get them prepared to pass. The very first time they sent me out, I had a 100% pass rate after teaching them for like 1.5 days. It shocked everybody. And then that's when I started being sent all around the country to teach these pre-licensing classes, property, casualty, life, and health. I've worked for many insurers under, ExamFX teaching these classes, and I was flying everywhere all the time, teaching these classes, and it was awesome and amazing. I was able to find, being able to teach and something that I was passionate about, insurance. Then, after COVID happened, classes changed, things got different. I was sitting behind my computer all the time. And I wanted to be able to help the average person. The majority of customers that I was helping at ExamFX were, large insurance companies who could afford live in-person instructors, where I began answering emails where so many people were stressing that I'm reading the material, I'm taking the practice exams, I'm passing them, but when I go to take the test, I'm failing it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what where to go from here. I'm doing everything the course says I need to do, but yet I keep failing the exam. So it's like the average person who's trying to study and take this exam. And like, I love insurance because like all you need to do is take and pass the test, and you can be in a career where the median income is 52, which is way more than a teaching salary, by the way.
Right.
But like, it's an amazing career track that, and you can do so many different things. You can work at a call center, you can run your own agency, you can work at a big business. Like, there's so many different options for people, and it's a great way to be able to make money. So like, I want to be able to help as many people as I can get into this industry. So when I saw like so many people struggling and needing help, I wanted to be able to make sure that I could help the masses and not just, high paying insurance companies who could afford a live in-person instructor. So I made the decision to leave ExamFX and start my own business. All I knew at the time was that I was just going to start a YouTube channel. So I started a YouTube channel, Insurance Exam Queen. I wanted it to be super simple so that people knew, how to, like if they type insurance exam, I should pop up, I wanted to be very searchable. So I started a YouTube channel. It grew, massively. And we now, we have a Facebook group of study, so people will watch the YouTube channel. We encourage them to come into a Facebook study group. We have 15,000 agent or pre-licensing agents in the Facebook group. Our YouTube channel has 55,000 subscribers and like triple the amount of people watching. And we have over 2,000 five-star reviews on Google. I was able to not only help people with the YouTube videos, but I also started creating courses that video classes mostly. So I want to emphasize that most of what I offer, which is one of the big things that's lacking in our traditional state-approved course. So companies like ExamFX, companies like Excel, they have the state-approved course, but a lot of them are lacking true educational videos from an instructor who can simply explain the material in a way that makes sense for people and allows them to memorize it so that they can recall it on the actual exam. And that's what I do all day long, is I explain these complex topics that people just, insurance is loaded with jargon, and you and I could probably talk about a bunch of stuff that to another person would sound like a completely different language. Like, what the heck are they even saying? And with my experience as being a teacher, I've been able to, take these complex topics, simplify them very easily so that a person could understand them, memorize them, retain them, and be able to recall them as they take the exam and pull off a pass. We've had people who say they've been studying for years, not able to pass, and after watching my videos are able to pass the exam. We boast a 90% first-time pass rate after people watch our videos. And we, we have different packages available, at different price points. We understand that most people have already paid around $200 for their pre-licensing course, which often fails to be inadequate for what they truly need to study. So we try to keep our packages affordable. And again, they supplement a state-approved course. We're not replacing a state-approved course, not yet anyway. So we are not state-approved, but we supplement state-approved materials like ExamFX, Kaplan, 80 Banker. Our videos complement those state-approved courses and teach the most common, most tested topics that people need to know and be able to recall on the exam. And people who use our Gold Class Series package, which is what I recommend to everybody, is $97 right now available on our website. And it has a 90% first time or next time pass rate. So if you haven't yet taken the exam and you use the Gold you watch all of the Gold videos, you have a 90% chance of passing the exam. And if you have failed multiple times and you watch the Gold videos, you have a 90% chance of passing the exam. We have grown completely organically. So, people just spread the word, everyone's shouting, oh my gosh, I was able to pass the exam. I use the insurance exam queen. We have even heard stories of proctors at the testing sites referring people to our insurance exam queen channel so that they can learn what they need to learn. So it's been amazing to build this community of people who are, studying to get into the insurance industry. And so much of what I do also is not just teaching them the information that they need to know to pass the exam, but also boosting their morale and their ability to be able to have the character and the resiliency to be in the insurance agency, like or industry. Like, I know that the percentages are like crazy, where most insurance agents fail at being able to stay in the industry and make a successful career and income. And I know a good portion of that is related to the fact that most people, when they see a fail, they think it's like the end of the world. I like to relate, when you see a fail on your exam, you're going to have to understand that there's going to be a day where you're sitting in front of a customer and they're going to say no. They're not going to want to buy your policy, or it's just not going to be a fit for them. You need to be able to handle that no and not allow it to knock you out and think that your job and career is over just because someone didn't make the sale. You need to have the character, the resiliency, the tenacity to continue to keep going, working to serve the customers and being able to make sales. So I really help flip people's mindset that, a failure means that they're not supposed to be in the industry. It may take you a few times. And I like to tell people, I've met many six-figure insurance agents who had to take the test 6, 7, 8 times. And I promise you, they don't care how many times it took now that they're cashing, their six-figure checks. So yeah, that's that. I mean, that's what we do. We help people pass the exam the first time, and we also make sure that they have a really good mindset heading on into the exam so that, they feel really good and confident heading into this career. It's kind of sad that like people get super excited that they can enter the insurance industry, that they can have this career path available to them. And then they go to take this test and they get this fail, and there's not really a lot of resources. Prior to me, having the business, there were not many resources out there, and they just feel stuck and they feel like they can't, get into, like, they're like, I had this amazing opportunity. And then they go through this immensely stressful situation trying to pass the exam. They like lose their momentum for this new job that they have, for this new opportunity that they have. We want to keep people excited and happy about this opportunity, and to not be stressed out and not be, pressured. So many people are like, I've got this new opportunity, but I'm, so pressured that I'm going to lose my job if I don't pass. And I like to remove the pressure for people. I like to, make it exciting and fun for them to be able to pass. It's boring, the stuff you have to learn. It's not fun at all. And I like to make it fun. So, I add jokes, the way that I say things, that just help people memorize the material. And we get a lot of comments that, like, this was the most exciting class I'd ever seen about insurance. I didn't expect to be this entertained while learning about the insurance exam. And that's one of the ways that we're able to keep people learning the information so that they can pull off a pass.
No,
So
that's awesome. So what do you think? I mean, again, I've talked to my folks who have taken the exam recently. Aside from the stress you mentioned, what do you think the disconnect of the material is and the way it's presented in these state approved courses that's not getting across the way you're getting across? Like, what's the difference, the paradigm shift?
the average person can read at about an 8th grade reading level, and the state approved courses are written more at like a college level. They don't simplify the insurance terms in a way that makes sense to the average person. So since you don't need a college degree, to get into the insurance industry, and you're reading this text that doesn't make any sense to an average person. And that's, I think, the biggest disconnect, is that these state approved courses just have very formal language that the average person, they're reading and they're like, wait a minute, what? Like, I've seen some of the courses and it's like, you can't define the word insurance using insurance. You have to define it, saying something else. And so I think it's really just the complex language, I think, is one of the biggest struggles. And also the majority of these courses are just text-based. So they're missing out on having quality videos from a actual instructor who can, translate this complex text into simply easy to understand information. A lot of the courses also lack on like real life experience. Like, okay, I just read about this, but how does this look like in real life? How does this translate to the policy that I have? Like, I'm reading about this liability, but what does that actually mean in my real life? So I like to use a lot of real life examples, a lot of scenarios so that people can understand. It's crazy because like when you're reading the online text of your course, it is like very boring, very high level in terms of the language that it uses. And then yet the questions are all scenario based, but you didn't read any scenarios in the text that you just read to answer this question. So the gap between being able to, take the information that I'm reading that's hard and difficult to understand and then extrapolate like what I need to apply it to a real life situation. The online courses are putting the onus on the people instead of bridging that gap for them. So that's what I like to do is bridge the gap between this hard, difficult, complex text into videos that are fun, simple, easy to listen to, and it's so funny because like in my business, people tell me like videos as an online course content creator, your teaching videos should not be longer than like 5 to 10 minutes. People don't have the attention span and you need to break it down. Like some of my best videos are like 2.5, 3 hours long. And it's like people are engaged. They're enthralled to be able to continue to listen and learn this material because I keep it so fun, so upbeat, so real to life that it's not a problem how long the videos are because they're actually getting what they need and they're enjoying their time watching it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's missing is an actual instructor who explains it in a way that's easy to understand, breaks down this text so that I can understand it in my brain with real life scenarios so that I can translate it to my own personal life and then be able to pull off a pass on the exam.
No, I like it. I mean, you're right about the real life scenarios. I know that's very much missing. I mean, do you think some of these folks like Exam FX and Kaplan, are they gonna start making adjustments, you think, to get the kind of like take off on some of your concepts of what's working? Do you think they're gonna make a change or they're so entrenched that they've already got it done, they're just gonna leave it as is?
Well, I can tell you that they've left it as is for a long time.
Yeah.
There has not been a lot of changes, I think, within the industry. I will tell you that a couple of them are trying to purchase the insurance exam queen business because they see what we've got going on. But I do think as I grow as the insurance exam queen, as we work on becoming state approved, we will change the industry. It will have to look different if they're going to want to be able to compete with me.
No, that makes sense. Because they give you the workbooks, that you can do it. And you got your online courses with some video, very, like you said, very little amount of video in it per section, if I
Mm-hmm.
remember right. And I remember, my wife's a teacher as well, and she kind of gave tips that I could pass on to our team about studying and how, you gotta just take breaks every 15, 20 minutes. You're gonna have to every time you kind of come back to it, if you're doing it on yourself and not in person, you've got to start where you left off and review that once again, and then start learning the new material. Just all these things that I forgot, and I know my team forgot.
A lot of those things aren't necessary if like you have to do that when it is a boring complex text, yes, but like my ability, like I'm able to help people study in just 2 days. Like that's where I'm at. Like I can teach you on a Monday and a Tuesday and you could be passing by Friday. So I really like to condense the amount of time it takes people to take. Another one of the problems with the state approved courses, which technically is not their fault, the state, all the states have outlines about what actually shows up on the test or what the test could be based on, right? But you're talking about like 300 pages of printed material translating to about 150 questions. They can't possibly ask you about everything, but a state approved course has to teach you everything. And they also have to have practice questions on everything. What I like to do is show people what actually shows up, what topics are most important. Additionally to the state exam outline, like when you log into your state approved course, there's nothing that is really telling you this chapter is the most tested chapter and this chapter is hardly tested at all. you as a customer, as a learner, think that all of it is equally and valid important and that you must understand all of it. And the truth is you don't. You know, you really only need a 70% to be able to pass in most states. And of that, 300 pages worth of reading material, only half of that is really important. And I like to focus on the part that's actually important and the questions that and I don't even focus on questions, by the way, but the content that you'll actually see on the exam. Like in Colorado, for instance, when you look at the 300, like when you look at a textbook, so most people obviously have like an online course that they have to scroll through. But if you were to take that online course and put it in a textbook, the first 20 pages is the two most tested chapters in Colorado: insurance terms related concepts and policy provision and contract law. That makes up about 20 pages of reading and about 40% of the exam. But most people wouldn't know that. They're going to spend most of their time on the rest of the textbook. People are just wasting time studying topics that are not as important and are not as highly tested. I want to save people's time. I want to save stress, and I want to save brain space. If you end up studying something so much because you see it in the online course, you see it in your practice questions, and then you go to take the state exam, and you don't even see it at all. And that's one of the things that a lot of people will say is, I don't even think I studied for the right exam. They did, technically, they got the correct state approved course. They signed up for the text that matches it. But like when they actually sat down to take the test, none of what they feel like they studied actually showed up. And I'm like, that's because you're studying the wrong thing. Nobody told you what the most tested, most common topics actually are, but that's what I do. So when people watch, my Gold Class Series package and then they take the test, they like, oh, I got this. This makes sense. I expected to see this. And they're so much more confident as they go through the material.
It reminds me, my daughters, recently were studying to go to college or, taking the SAT and ACT, and we had to hire these tutors that would teach them how to take the test.
Mhm.
And these are the most important areas. It's not it and it didn't come in that huge book they got for the study guide, for the
Yeah.
ACT. It was that tutor that had to kind of help them condense it down to the most important and sort of how to take the test strategies. Also, do you go into that too about the multiple choice and how to kind of
Yes.
narrow it down? Do you get into those strategies too?
We do. And we like to play games doing that. So like we play Kahoot games where it's basically a practice test in a game format. And I walk people through like, okay, generally two of these answers. So like you get a multiple choice question, two of these answers you can throw away, right? Just throw them out. They don't fit, they don't match. And then you're down to these other two. And then we give them strategies on what to look for. We also have another instructor, Peter and Angela, are actually really great at breaking down test questions. So we do have some classes for that. We have them on the YouTube channel as well. And we do like to just give, good testing strategies to people, how to handle that multiple choice question. Make sure that you're reading the question. Make sure you read all of the answer choices. Like, a lot of times there can be a difference of one letter, insured versus insurer. That's just one letter. And the sentences can read exactly the same, but that one letter is off. And if you don't pay attention to that, you're likely to, to miss it. And that's the difference between a 69 and a 70 is just paying attention. Also, one of the biggest struggles people have is the not or accept questions. Like all of the following are elements of a contract except, and you're actually looking for the false answer, right? You're looking for the one that doesn't fit, but your brain studied what the
What it
elements of
is.
a
Yeah, what
contract
does fit. Yeah.
are, not what they're not. So
Right.
that those questions are really, really tricky. So we like to spend a good amount of time helping people through those accept questions and how to handle them. So like I teach people, like when you get to an accept question, you have to remember three of these things go together. Three of them are correct. Three of them make sense. You're looking for the one that doesn't fit. You're looking for the false answer, and that is actually the correct answer. And I just highly emphasize that through the the course material and stuff that we do.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great. And like how many videos come with a gold package for PNC and how long are each of them?
They really do range in size. I mean, you can have like our general insurance video is like 2 hours, and then we have a video just on trees that's like maybe 20 minutes. But in total, the gold for property and casualty is about 34 hours long. We do host them via like YouTube so people can speed them up if they want to listen to them faster. But most people say they enjoy listening to them, and they will listen to them while they're cooking, while they're cleaning, so they can like really compound their studying. And that's a big thing too, like about these state approved courses, if they're text-based, you have to be sitting and reading. You have to be looking at the screen. I provide people an opportunity to continue on with their normal everyday life, because most people who are studying already have a job during the day and they're studying at night while they got to take care of the kids and clean the house. So
Right.
I make it so that they can just listen to this information while they're cooking, while they're cleaning, so that they can absorb it and learn it and hear it on repeat. And, instead of having to sit and focus on text that's hard. Like, I know when I'm reading a text that is difficult, I have to read the sentence like 3 or 4 times, and then I like might space out, and it's like, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I want to make it easy for people, and with you're heavily property and casualty, on your channel. So I also want to emphasize like commercial, like so there's, the property and casualty exam, and then there's the personal lines exam. P&C includes commercial, personal lines doesn't. And a lot of times agents will sign up to take the property and casualty. They fail, they fail, they fail. And then they'll be encouraged to just take personal lines because it doesn't have commercial. But what's crazy is if you truly focus on personal lines and study it in the way that I teach and, help people understand the material, they can almost pass the property and casualty exam only having studied personal lines. Commercial is actually not a huge section of the exam, but it probably is one of the scariest for the majority of people because it's huge when it comes to study. Like if you were to look at a textbook of, property and casualty, everything that could be tested, commercial is the biggest chunk. But in most states, it's not the biggest chunk of the exam. So I like to keep it very surface level when it comes to commercial and not, like overwhelm people with all the things they need to learn. If they can heavily focus on insurance terms, home, auto, dwelling, they're much able to pull off a pass than trying to understand all the intricacies about commercial insurance.
P&C agents, have you run into Byberg, which is a Berkshire Hathaway company quoting workers' comp for either your prospects or clients? Well, great news. Insured Solutions, a national MGA, has an appointment that is set up to allow you to quote, bind, and service Byberg at your agency. And the coverage is in all states. It's A-rated. Startups are even accepted. There's $125,000 maximum premium. And some of the tough industries they write are construction, transportation, that includes towing and parcel delivery, manufacturing, security guards that are armed and unarmed, motor mediation, and many more. So go to our website at insuredsolutions.net, click the Get Appointed link. We'll get you logins for you and your team, and can set up a webinar for training if you'd like. Also, feel free to email info@insuredsolutions.net, and I can handle the submission myself, or call 770-402-5343. Be glad to speak to you and give you more detail. Thanks.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't think that would, that kind of, coincide together, but that sounds cool. If you need to do that. So what other areas then aside personal lines, commercial, what other topics do you cover on licensing?
We do life and health, and then we also have adjusters. So adjusters is primarily property and casualty plus adjusting. I personally do not have any adjusting experience, but we use Angela, known as the Ultimate Study Buddy. She is an actual field adjuster, and she helps people learn the adjusting material. So we have property and casualty gold, life and health gold, adjusting gold. We do have some smaller packages like bronze and silver. We start at 27 for bronze, which is about an 8-hour review of the material. Like if you're like, I'm almost getting it, like I'm getting a 68, a 69, but there's just a couple of things I need to make sense. Bronze is, what we'd recommend. We have silver, which is a little bit of a deeper review of the material. That's about 15 hours of video. And that's $57. And then we have the gold, which is 30 plus hours of video, but gold also includes student notes and a couple of quizzes under the videos, and that's $97. We also bundle some like quiz packages. So if you want extra practice questions, we've got gold plus quizzes and exams. The adjuster bundle is $159. And then there is platinum too, where you can talk to me while you study, and that's like $597 right now, but that can fluctuate in price depending on demand.
Okay, no, that's a good option to give them the access to you too, as well.
Yep.
I mean, are you pretty much promoting, I would think, go ahead and get you involved with one of your courses along with the exam at the same time. Don't wait and fail, right? And then do it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot of people, if they're a lot, unfortunately, a lot of people are told, take your pre-licensing course and take the practice exams until you're scoring 80% and you'll be able to take and pass the state exam. That's the most common thing that people are told, and it does not work for the majority of people. It does work for a handful who are good at taking tests, but it doesn't work for most people. So most people will study their state approved course, take their practice exams, get 80%, and then go take the state exam and fail with the 50 and not understand how that happened. So what I recommend, and that's how a lot of people end up finding me. Now that we're getting bigger and word of mouth is out there, more people are finding me before they even test. And ideally, I would like people to find me and use my material before they even jump into their pre-licensing course. Because
Oh,
it's like one of my students said, she's like, I have to read this boring text, but I remind myself that I get dessert and I get to watch Melissa's video after I read the chapter. And I'm like, girl, flip it around. Eat your dessert first. Watch my video first and then go through the text,
yeah, you'll
and
absorb
it'll
it
be
more. Yeah.
so much easier. Yeah, like if you don't, like, I give the foundational knowledge of the information that you're about to read. So if you watch my video first and then you read the text, it'll make so much more sense. And
Ooh,
it
that's a good
won't.
tip. That's the best thing you said on the tips, part right
Yes,
now. Because
yes,
I wouldn't
I
have caught
highly
that. Yeah.
yeah, I highly encourage my videos first and or at least alongside, the text. Now, every company is a little bit different in terms of how they structure their chapters, but I mostly follow state outlines, and state outlines will do like general insurance and then property and then casualty and then state law. So I kind of follow that same structure. So chapter titles might be a little different compared to my videos, but most people are able to kind of figure out what videos of mine they should be watching as they're reading the chapters of whatever course provider they have.
Right. That makes sense. And then when they watch you first, then they read the chapter and then maybe review again with you if they watch your video again if they kind of need some more help with it, I guess. Or
Yeah,
and
definitely. I
then
mean,
take the practice questions, right?
yes, and I do encourage people to watch on repeat. We have all kinds of people. Like if you go to our Google reviews, you can literally type in, ADHD or ADD or, dyslexia or, English is not my first language. You can put that in the search, and so many reviews will say, I had this problem and these problems, but like I'm able to get through her videos and learn the information. I'm able to retain it. And that's one of the biggest things. I mean, I've talked to people. There was recently a guy from like Kenya, and like talking to him on video, I had a hard time understanding what he was saying, but he was like, I watched your videos and I passed the exam the first time. And so like we break through language barriers, we break through, learning disabilities. And none of those things are an issue for people when they're using my material, because like I'm an actual teacher, right? Like I went to school for this. And so I had to learn, and I mostly taught in Arizona, where it's a heavily, Hispanic population where they're all speaking Spanish. So I know how to teach people who don't necessarily have English as their first language, and be able to take this extremely complex language of insurance and break it down to a point where even a person who doesn't speak English very well is able to learn and absorb and be able to pass the test. Because like something that I'll do is like I'll even teach people, like, if you see this word in the question, you're looking for this as the answer. Like you don't even need to fully understand, like if they're talking about an agreed value policy, you're looking for the phrase, what is now I'm going to trip myself up because I'm on the podcast here, but like was stated, like the policy, agreed and stated, people mix those policies up all the time, but was stated, you're looking for the word maximum. So if in the question they're talking about a stated value policy, you're looking for the answer that has the word maximum in it. And that gives people a much bigger chance of being able to guess correctly even if they're not fully confident in the material, if they know what keywords to look for, it really helps them to be able to pick the right answer.
Good advice. Okay. No, this is fantastic. I think you're doing a great service to people. Like I said, my team was really stressed out. You know, we had a couple people doing it at the same time, and they were sort of talking back and forth, and I was listening, and they were just, you know, having a time with it. They ended up passing, but I think it was the stress of getting to that point was phenomenal. And I think we, as owners, as agencies, sometimes take that for granted, that what the stress is like because of, even though we were even giving them time at work, you know,
Mhm.
first couple hours in the morning, we were saying, yeah, get started on your studying then, so you don't have to do it at home in the evening, but you got your life, you know, to deal with.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get it done on the weekends too. But anyway, having this, I think, would really, you know, make it quick, go faster, and just a little more enjoyable, if there is such a word, for studying for insurance
Yeah,
licensing.
people enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, just take a look at our reviews. I mean, we do have a perfect 5-star rating on Google, over 2,000 reviews. And people saying I genuinely enjoyed, you know, watching the videos. Many people say they feel like I'm their best friend because they've been listening to my videos on repeat, you know, for a while. And you know, it's awesome to be able to, you know, really help people feel good as they're studying. And in fact, I have audios on my YouTube channel that I encourage them to listen to before they begin to study, that just gets them excited to study. You know, most people dread sitting down to go study. I'm like, if you're sitting down already dreadful about this, you're not going to have a good time studying and you're not going to retain a lot of the information. You've got to be excited to study. You've got to be excited to sit down and learn this material. So I actually just have little, I call them meditation audios that they listen to before they study. And even we have meditation audios about to test. So I always tell people, as you're driving to the testing center, listen to this audio. It'll get you in this mindset where you feel really good and really excited to pull off a pass. Because if a person is going into the testing center and they're already feeling defeated and they're already super scared, that's the result they're going to get, you know, a defeated, scared result. But if they headed in excited and happy, like it helps them to feel better as they're taking the test, that they can feel more confident. If you're going in worried and scared and then you get a question that you don't feel confident on, it pulls you down further and further. And then you already think you failed and you haven't even finished the test yet. You know, I want people feeling like they're passing as they're taking it, and they're in a much higher spirit. They're not weighed down by worry and fear. They're not, you know, burdened by stress. And that actually helps them to get the knowledge that they need out of their brain to pull off a pass.
Good point. Good point. Well, it's like somebody wants to, from the agency side, wants to hire you or refer, you know, their team to you to purchase the coursework. Like, what's the best way to get in touch with you and your website and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so it's just Insurance Exam Queen or the Insurance Exam Queen works to go to our website. We also have the Facebook study group. If you just type in Insurance Exam Queen on Facebook, it'll pop up. YouTube channel, Insurance Exam Queen. If there's any agencies that have a lot of agents that they would like to go through the gold videos, we can certainly set them up with a package, with a discount. And then if anyone does want custom classes for their people, we can arrange that as well.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay. And the custom, is that usually done in person or Zoom, or what do you would think works the
Zoom
best?
generally is going to be the most affordable for people. In person would require a lot right now. We do have a handful of instructors though that we could utilize for that. But most agencies, you know, you're already paying for their training, you're already paying for their time. You want to get it done as quickly as possible. Zoom is definitely going to be the way to do that. Quick, you know, quick online learning. And then oh my gosh, I had a thought and I lost it, but I'll get it back. Oh, we're about to also release a job board. So what I found really interesting is I made the assumption that most of the people who would find me already had a job lined up. But because of the videos and the way that I speak, we actually have a lot of people who stumbled across my video, learned that the insurance career is an amazing opportunity, and will start studying for the exam without a job already lined up. And so people will ask me now, okay, I got the license. What do I go do now? And I'm like, go find a job. So we have all of these people looking for jobs. And so we are now actually introducing a job board. So also, if you're an agency and you're looking to hire people, we can set you up on our job board and get you in front of a massive audience of people looking for jobs.
That's great. So they just reach you on the website to ask to be part of that job board then?
Yeah, I believe we're in the we're still it's in the phases of we're developing, but we're very close to be able to turn it on and get that set up for people.
Now, that's a good feature right now because, yeah, as you know, the agency world they're looking for producers and account managers. It's really challenging to find, especially in the younger, newer folks in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to get them, ramped up to work within the industry as well. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we also allow insurance agencies to offer webinars to our audience where you can teach them about the insurance world and also use that opportunity as a recruitment tool. We had a webinar not too long ago and they've already hired 20 people. It's crazy like how fast we can fill recruitment slots using our audience.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. No, that's great. Well, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Anything else, Melissa, you wanted to cover? We covered a lot, but anything else you
No, I
didn't mention?
mean, if you've got people who are studying for that exam, just let them know about the insurance exam queen. We want to make sure that everyone is able to pass quickly, easily the first time, and get them excited to enter into their career field. And like even in our videos, I try to speak with a sales language, meaning I'm teaching them about the exam and how to sell insurance at the same time. And I think that's another thing that's missing is the pre-licensing just teaches them insurance, not actually how to talk about it with the customer so that they can sell it appropriately. We embed that in the learning. So it
I'm a
kind of,
sales
I mean,
guy, so I like hearing that. That's good.
yeah, I mean, it's not a full outright sales program, but like I will say, when you're sitting with the customer and you're telling them about homeowners, in order for them to understand the importance of why this coverage is, required or why they should buy this endorsement, here's what you need to say so that they can understand the value of what it is that you're offering. And so we embed that language in there as well.
That's good. That's another bonus, piece of.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're finding that I bet you're going to extend this beyond courses what I know about you as a go-getter to even help it become more relevant for training after they're licensed in a specific vertical, such as commercial auto, general liability, teach them how to as an account manager, how to, market it, and then as a sales team or producer, how to sell it. I bet that can be a good next fit test.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right now our main goal is state approvals so that we can become the top pre-licensing provider out there so that people are actually passing the first time without the stress. And then once we get that state approved pre-licensing up there, that is definitely something that we're moving into as well, is just the solid education that's fun and exciting for people to go through so that they can become their best self in their career.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. And I appreciate it. I know that the service you're offering is going to be appreciated by the folks that use it. And so we got to get these agency owners, pushing this out to the account managers and producers that are going through the studying and the coursework. Also, just one shameless plug I had to put in, of course, is I just launched a new book, The Blueprint, The Insurance Agency's Unconventional Rise to the Top. It's on Amazon, and it kind of goes through my journey of building insured solutions and the private equity backing that we received after about 10 years in the industry or business, and then some tips on nearshore, offshore, some marketing programs that we put together, digital marketing that really worked well as a blueprint to teach agents on what we did as an agency and how we ended up going and selling to private equity as well. So I just wanted to get that out there that anybody.
Yeah, and I read it and I enjoyed it. It's a great
Oh,
book.
yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate your constructive feedback for as a teaching.
Yeah, honestly,
Uh,
it was a pretty easy read, you know, like and it was enjoyable to read it. I enjoyed continuing to read it. Like it was not a state approved text, you know. I wasn't trying to run away from it. I was like, oh my God, I'm really enjoying reading this book. This is giving me a lot of cool information.
I appreciate that. I forgot you read it. No, thank you very much for that plug too. But anyway, well, listen, have a great rest of your night, and looking forward to hearing some feedback as things progress.
Yeah, awesome. And many people have passed the exam just with the YouTube videos. So it's not even necessary. I mean, of course, I want you to get my Gold Class Series package, but even if you can just refer your agents to the YouTube videos, that is super powerful.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thanks again for tuning in to Insurance Shop Talk. If you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest trends, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, I'm Eric Stein, and this has been Insurance Shop Talk.